Hey everyone, here to share a quick demo of a personal project of mine called Agent Bridge for Photoshop. Agent Bridge is a way for you to use your coding agent of choice, whether that's Codex, Claude Code, Cursor, etc., to drive Photoshop in the creation and editing of Photoshop documents or PSDs. So getting started with Agent Bridge, we're here on the website, which is agentbridgeforphotoshop.jaredverdi.com, and you can read through the quick start. There's basically just a few steps. So first, you can install the skill, which teaches your agent everything it needs to know about how to use Agent Bridge effectively. And it does that through the two components that make up Agent Bridge. The first is the Agent Bridge CLI. So there's a command line interface that exposes a number of operations that your agent can call to do whatever it needs to do inside of Photoshop in that document to create or edit, whatever it needs to. So you install that with npm, and then you get that running. It also runs as a daemon, which as those commands are called from your agent, it communicates with a plugin inside of Photoshop, which is the second component. The Photoshop plugin is also called Agent Bridge for Photoshop. It's available through the Creative Cloud desktop app. So just go to the Stock and Marketplace plugin section and search for that, and you can get it installed inside of Photoshop. Okay, so there's a lot more to it. All these docs go into the details. These are both useful for humans and for agents, so we can take a look at this website as well, and there are instructions inside of the skill that direct it to do so when it needs detailed information about the CLI or any of the individual operations. But let's go a little bit further. Let's take a look at the PS Agent CLI. So again, this is what's going to run the daemon that communicates to the plugin. It's what your agent is going to be calling into. It typically does that with PS Agent op calls. So if we ask for help about ops, which is something your agent might do, it gets a list of all the various commands that are available to it. They're very straightforward in naming, and that's to be as transparent as possible to the agents so that they can make judgment calls on which of these might be useful to use. And then if we add one of these commands, so let's say we want to look at the set adjustment layer operation. If we ask for help on that, we'll get the supported arguments, other aliases for this command, and an example payload that it should send if it wanted to use this operation. So you can see, maybe it's hue saturation adjustment, and it shows which of the individual arguments you would send for hue, saturation, and lightness. So this is, again, mostly intended for the agents to be able to consume and understand how the tool works. It builds on philosophy around CLIs, being easier for agents typically to employ versus things like MCP, which can pollute your context. There is an MCP layer to this as well, which just is there for as much compatibility as possible with different types of agents and the way that they work. But this goes back to the philosophy of Peter Steinberger's talked quite a bit about, the creator of OpenClaw. You can read his blog posts that go into more detail about how CLIs are sort of the right choice to open up interfaces between your agents and other tools and services. So that's where I got some of the inspiration for building this out. Okay, so now we have Photoshop open. You'll see in the plugins panel, we do have a panel for Agent Bridge. It is currently disconnected, so why don't we go and get the bridge up and running now. So we're just going to call PS Agent Bridge daemon. Okay, that is now started. And if we come back in and connect the bridge, we'll see that the bridge is connected, and we'll get some basic logging as we work here, which is mostly for debugging purposes, but nice to see that everything is flowing through. Of course, you'll see that visually as well. Okay, so now we're over in Claude Code. We've already installed the skill, so if we look at the skills that are available, we do see this agent bridge for Photoshop skill. So we're going to instruct Claude to use that skill when it's working here. So I'm going to use Whisper Flow to dictate here much faster than me typing out all the instructions. I use this on a kind of daily basis to interact with Claude Code and Codex. Okay. Hey, let's create a new design for a settings page inside of a web application. On the left side of the page, we're going to have a sidebar with navigation where the settings page is going to be selected. And on the right side, we're going to have a list of users in a table. Maybe for each user row, we want to have an avatar, a name, their role, maybe some other details that you can think of. And then at the end of the row, edit and delete buttons to act on that user. On the bottom of the page, let's also have an upsell banner to subscribe to our pro membership of whatever this product is. Let's make it look really nice and compelling. So use some graphics you can pull from the web for placement, maybe some sort of a gradient or abstract sort of shape that can be used on the left side of this banner, and then have it fade as it moves to the right. And on the right side, we can have all of our typography that describes the pro membership and a button to upgrade. You can also include the price in there on or near the button. This is all for a demo, so let's keep it pretty simple and quick. And at the end, make sure that we save the PSD, and let's also export a PNG file of the whole canvas. Okay, so now Whisper Flow is pasted into Claude Code. You'll see the full instructions that I just dictated. Now it's kind of interrogating the CLI to figure out one, if the bridge is running. It's looking at different operations that it thinks it's going to need. So you can see it's trying to figure out how to create shape layers, text layers. It's pulling all the information from the CLI. And a lot of this design for, sort of how the information was being passed back through the CLI help functions and arguments really came out of watching Claude Code try to use the tool in early versions and seeing that it was essentially, running these commands which didn't exist yet to try to get help on different operations and get the list of operations. So rather than try to teach it, oftentimes the best approach is to just meet it where it already is. And yeah, so that's the way that we kind of architected some of the choices that we made. You can see that Claude has already created a new document, named it Acme Settings. It's laid out a sidebar, and now it's kind of populating that sidebar with some basic navigation. It's making a lot of this up as it goes because I didn't describe every page that we need, but you can see it did follow my instructions to have a settings link on the left side that's selected. On the right side, it's now created a header called user management with an add user button. Again, something I didn't request, but it's, sort of in its training data, seen enough of these pages to know what's common here. So next is moving on to our table of users. It's put in a nice drop shadow effect on that table, given the header, a header row with different names of each of the things that are going to appear in the rows. It's populated a first row. It seems to be following my instructions. A couple of the things that it chose to include here were email, the date it was last active, the status of that user. It looks like the avatar is a simple circle placeholder, which is varying in color as it builds out some more of these rows. So everything's looking great so far. Let's see if it will continue on and finish up the table here. We can look over at Claude to see what it's lining up to do next. And you can see too, like as it's doing this, each of these operations it's building out as an individual JSON file. So what's neat about this is you get not just the output, the PSD that's eventually going to be created here, but if you wanted, you could also preserve these JSON files, which are going to define the operations. And in this example, we're building out a user management kind of UI page, but you could imagine lots of different reasons why you would want to automate activities inside of Photoshop with simple English language talking to Claude Code. So, maybe I want to take one design that I've created and have it exported out in, a variety of different formats, or create multiple sizes, create a responsive version of an existing PSD. So there's all sorts of different ways that you might use this beyond just kind of imagining a new design in the way that I'm doing right now. Okay, so the table is finished up. It's moved on to the banner that I requested for the upsell to the Pro membership. I do see that there's kind of a abstract shape on the left side, which is bleeding out of the banner a little bit. So I don't know if it'll go back and clean that up. Sometimes it will. You'll actually see as it's working, this most recent command it called was to render out to PNG. So it's basically taking a rendering of the full canvas and then pulling it into Claude Code itself to see its own work, right? So it has vision into what it's creating, and it can, try to figure out what shortcomings there are. So you can see it actually just went and fixed that issue that we had noticed around the shape not being clipped to the banner. It looks like it's kind of going through a polish phase right now. So you saw it created kind of icon placement for all the individual navigation in the sidebar. It added sort of how many users it's currently showing to the bottom of the table. I've also seen, in preparing for the demo, that sometimes it'll include pagination and things like that. But yeah, one of the great things here is you're getting the full set of layers being built out inside of Photoshop. So when this is sort of done working, you can go in and tweak any of this in the same way that you would one of your own designs inside of Photoshop. All right, great. So it looks like it's done at this point. It's not perfect. There are a couple things that I would definitely change. Some of the text is going kind of right up to the edge of the buttons in the Pro membership upsell. But overall, this saves me a ton of time ideating, trying to visualize, what possibilities there are. Let's actually just take a quick look at the layers that it created. You can see it's also great about naming layers. All this, is very self-explanatory, and you can see there's a wide variety of different types of layers and layer effects that are being applied here. It just goes to show that all you really need to do is give these intelligent tools an interface to these desktop apps that they can communicate, and give them enough information on how to manipulate those operations, and they can go to town and figure out what they need to do without any of this being in sort of the training data in Claude Code or Codex, right? Like, this tool didn't exist when that happened. So yeah, that's it for the demo. The whole thing is free and open source. Thanks a lot for watching.